So picking your name as an artist is probably one of the most important things you'll have to do in your career. It's also probably the most stressful thing you'll have to do in your career. This name identifies you. You can go with your government name, like I do myself, Mark W., or you can go with a stage name, but you got to be careful because this name will define who you are throughout the duration of your career. Or will it? Let's talk about it.
All of my, I just want all of my chips.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Artistry Ascending right here at Traklife. You know who I am. I'm your man's the meticulously multitalented Mark W. coming at you one more time yet again. How are you? And of course, joined here with me today, you can't miss him, though you might miss him, is that guy Darius, the producer of Artistry Ascending. He's gonna be joining me here today. On this week, we're gonna be talking about your identity. Now, most of the time we see that as being a name or a persona and how that could transform throughout the course of your career. Of course, your name when you first start is who you are. It's what you represent. It's everything about you. But you can go from an adolescent rapper, an adolescent singer, an adolescent musician, and then you grow up and that name no longer fits you. Or you could be a well-established musician and then all of a sudden you get into some contractual obligations and some disagreements in that contract, and now you're forced to change your name. Or you just want to change your name altogether and be somebody different over here than you are over here. Either way it goes, your identity is going to shift and contort throughout the course of your career. Today, we're going to have a little conversation about that very topic. Yeah. And this guy, Darius, is going to facilitate a lot of that. I'm on the couch getting interviewed today. So what we got on the menu today, sir?
You teed up very well. Identity is a very important thing,
Yeah.
whether it's stolen or, reused.
Right.
The question always is, as an artist, we get this all the time, is when you're first coming into the game as an artist, how hard is it to come up with your own name? And I know that you can go on a story about how many names have you had, and homies have had names, because I feel like it's like an AOL situation where you won't buy Booty 300.
You look, I know some cats that actually use their AOL name as their rap name. He doesn't use this anymore, but it's R4G3, and that's supposed to be Rage. Shout out to you. I call him Jersey because that's where he's from. He's from Jersey, but it was R4G3 for a long time.
I feel there's an era. Do you remember the era of, before we dive into it, how Childish Gambino got his name?
Yes, I did my name on that as well.
Was it the Wu-Tang generator?
It was the Wu-Tang name generator. I think mine was, I can't remember no more. I didn't want to use it. It didn't sound as good as Childish Gambino. That was actually pretty dope. But I've seen some pretty dope names come out of that.
All right. So for you, how'd you go about it?
So that's good. When I first started, this is the name nobody knows. If you've seen other interviews, shout out to you, Lucky B. If you've seen other interviews of me, I went by first was Trey Dog.
Wait, say it again?
Trey Dog.
2 G's or 1 G?
I can't remember now. I believe it's probably 2.
You probably went by 3. I can tell.
Only because of Trey, right? Yeah. And obviously that's telling of the time. Because back then it was Dog everything. It was Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound, Dog Father, Trey D, all them people, all them names was always thrown around. So my nickname still is to this day is Trey. Okay. For those who don't know, I am the third. So that was my nickname already. Dog was, again, indicative of the times we was in. That didn't last anywhere outside of my bedroom, freestyling with my little brother and his friend on a karaoke machine. So that wasn't a very long-lived name. But the name I did end up going with for a long time was Actright. All right. ACTRIGHT. You can still find some stuff online with that name. In fact, my old group I was with, Lost Dialect, it was under Actright. And there were a couple other groups I was with, but it was all under Actright. And that, I gave myself that name, but it really spawned from like, everybody is getting off on being a thug and being inappropriate and being, the antithesis of what society wants.
Now, when you came up with the first name, Trey Dog, how were you rapping? Like, what type of flow were you mimicking.
It was extreme. I think.
So I always feel like as an artist, where it's like we always idolize like our heroes. Were you rapping like Snoop Dogg?
No.
You try to rap like.
I didn't rap like my little brother rapped like Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
I feel like I was rapping like a combination of Ice Cube and Dub C. It was all West Side Connection.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of Dub C, Ice Cube, and Mac 10.
Okay.
That's what I feel like. I don't remember too much. Like I said, it was all freestyles. It wasn't, nothing was written.
Yo, Trent Dog, I come through doggy style, keeping them pop bit doggy.
I will say my flow hadn't really changed too much from what you hear now. It's definitely gotten sharper, but
I should hope it got sharper.
It definitely got sharper.
I should hope.
But I went with that for a long. It just sounded cool to me. And then there was another act right from Watts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I remember meeting J-Rock one time backstage at one of Absol's shows, and I introduced myself. I was like, yo, what's going on? I go by Act Right. He was like, oh, from Watts? I was like, no, I'm not that one. Because there was a big difference between how I spelled my name and how he spelled his. You can imagine it was Ackrite.
All right.
I think that's how he spelled it, Ackrite. But yeah, no, I didn't change it immediately thereafter, but that let me know. And then Yo Gotti came out with his song Act Right.
Yep.
And I remember my phone blowing up one day. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm finally on. And then my Twitter, and I look, and it says at Act Right, but it's the song is what they're talking about. So that was a...
You went viral for the wrong reason?
Huh? I went viral for the wrong reason. Extreme wrong reason.
So like, what would your advice be for artists start coming up in the game? Whether you're a singer, R&B, producer, because we can talk about producer tags, like that's a big thing. About like, as you're approaching your career, even if you're in your career right now, like what's some advice that you took from that day of figuring out, like, okay, I went down this path because of ...
Mm-hmm.
But I found this path to make myself become who I am today. So if there was an artist out there listening, what advice would you give to them about how to go about this process? Because it's not easy.
Choosing your name?
Choosing your name and just like identity, like, because like you said, like, I wasn't that person.
No, I wasn't, but I totally tried to act like it.
We see that happen a lot. You know, you try to come out the gate, you know, pistols waving.
I didn't necessarily wave pistols, but you know what? I get you. Man, my pops would have smacked the mess out of me if I came out pistols waving. It's like, nigga, what is... I guess the one piece of advice I would give is just really to go through it. I wouldn't even say... you know, try to lock it down before you make any moves because you don't know what you don't know.
True.
You have to go through it. So whatever name you have now, try not to get too stuck on that name too much, especially if you're brand new to it. If you've been in it for a couple years, alterations are allowed. But if you've been putting out a catalog of music, you're running to the issue I'm running into right now, because now my name is not Act Right. It's now my name is not Act Right. It is Mark W, which is my government name. I just didn't include the last part of it, which is Whitlock, because I didn't go by Mark Whitlock because you're gonna pull up my dad's name. Plus, that sounds extremely corporate, extremely corporate.
Mark Whitlock. You know what I do taxes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna finesse them IRS codes for you, my G.
You know?
Nah, it's I'm running into an issue now because every time you try to Google Mark W, Mark Wahlberg comes up, or if you try to use my whole name, my dad will come up. But so now it messes with how searchable my name is. So, and I have a catalog under Mark W. Mm-hmm. So do I change my name completely? Do I mess with the phonetics of the name? Do I just spell it a little differently? That's why I got messed with St. James so much, because he just it's SNTJMS. Simple, but completely Googleable. Ain't nobody else about to have that name.
True.
And I'm feeling a little slighted because that's my actual name. Either way.
So you're telling me St. James, you got to fight it out?
Yeah, we're going to have to duke it out. No.
I think we should have a battle.
A battle, me and St. James?
Yeah. Bar for bar. Drop 6. Don't do 16. 6 bars only.
It's 6 bars.
6 bars only. 6 bars.
Wait. But then I got to apologize afterwards. So.
Doesn't quite sit with
Because it doesn't sit right with my spirit. I don't mean to jab at him, but I do mean to jab at him because he jabbed. I'm just gonna apologize after I jab. So,
by the way, the hilarious thing that when you Google say Mark W, Mark Wahlberg pops up.
yeah,
The fact that you should have a song called Mark Wahlberg.
I should. Ooh,
Or the Black Wahlberg. The Black
Wahlberg. The Black Mark Wahlberg or the Black Wahlberg.
I think the Black Mark Wahlberg.
That might be too long. I just might have a song called Mark Wahlberg.
And we can have another song called Good Vibrations.
See, now you got it. As we talk about identity shifts, ladies and gentlemen, that is, I know a lot of y'all young ones don't know this. Just look up Good Vibrations.
Marky,
you thought Vanilla Ice was funny.
Listen, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch gave us Calvin Klein and Good Vibrations. That's a good branding.
It's great branding. I'm so mad at Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch because all throughout my adolescence, I was teased. I was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I don't like the nickname Marky Mark to that day because of him. Yet, full circle,
here you are.
Here I am. Anyway, it's gonna happen. You're gonna find your identity and you're gonna find the one that fits for you at the time. But if it changes over time, don't beat yourself up and find a way to, adjust. It does get a little difficult though when you start to build a catalog under a name.
True, especially for a couple of years. Mixtapes,
absolutely,
LP, EPs.
Man.
Especially we were uploading to now, back in your day.
Back in my day, it was all CDs.
CDs, so no one had to go back and realize,
right,
who's this person?
But it didn't matter too much, but now you have a digital footprint that goes throughout the end of time, or at least until your your subscription to the DistroKid lapses, and then they just take all your shit down.
I used to until your subscription life just ends,
and then now you can start all over. In fact, that's probably a good play. Wait till your subscription lapses. Don't renew any of the songs that are up. Wait till they come down. Rebuy your ISRC code for yourself. And I've done homework on this. You can buy your own ISRC code. It's a bit of a process, but if you do that, re-upload it with your new ISRC code, you might be able to do it. That's still a process, though. I've thought about all this because of the proposed name change.
We'll get to the conversation about you because we've had a conversation about you.
We have.
One of the things I've always been interested in is you came up with the name by yourself, the Trey Dog, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I can't look at you the right way to say you Trey Dog. But when it comes to identity too, what is your influences of your friends, your peers, and other artists? Like, how much did that play in your career as coming up with different names? So when you went from Trey Dog, to act right, like, was that a personal decision, or was that like my peers are kind of going this direction?
It was
the sound of hip hop, or I want to do this stuff.
No, that's a good one. So I guess there's two sides to that story. My side, and then what everybody else did. So my side was, I wanted a persona that could do all the things I was afraid to do.
Oh,
yeah. So I am, like I've said before, I don't talk much, naturally a shy person. But under this mask of act right, that person can do all of those things.
Can act wrong?
Can act wrong, right. That person can act wrong. So I identified it as this character on stage. That was my stage persona. That was who I wanted to present for the world to see. On the other hand, it was kind of cool to have at the time, these avant-garde names that don't necessarily have a name to it. Was a Ghostface Killer. Obviously that derives from a real person, but you know what I'm saying? Like all of these type of abstract names, or like, abstract, Q-Tip, you know what I'm saying? Q-Tip or Kamal the Abstract. These type of abstract names, I was like, yeah, I think that sounds cool to have. I still gave myself that name. It derived from a place of me wanting to act correctly. And that was like, I act right on the microphone. That's really what it comes from. But I wasn't given the name Act Right. And I think for MCs or even other talents, singers, musicians, whatever, I think a given name like a Killer Mike is earned. And I think that's a badge of honor. And I applaud someone like Killer Mike for keeping that name because he earned it.
Sure.
And there was, again, like with your name having to be marketable marketing a name like Killer Mike is a little difficult in certain circles.
True.
But he held on to that because, no, damn it, I earned that name. Battling all these MCs through one night and somebody called me Killer Mike, like, yeah, I get that.
So do you ever, when you hear artists going through the path of rebranding themselves or redefining their identity, we're talking off camera about like, there's so many artists that have gone through like a rebranding identity of who they were before.
Yeah.
One of the names was like, Titty Boy.
Yeah.
Became 2 Chainz. And a lot of people like, same flow, same style.
Same delivery, all of that.
Same brain, same dreads.
Right.
Just Titty Boy to 2 Chainz, which is just going from something that seems very questionable,
right,
to it's 2 Chainz. That's all you
it's just 2 Chainz.
Can be
right.
3 chains, not 1 chain.
Right. Why did we pick 2
chains?
Why did we pick 2?
So how do you feel about artists going through that transformation, even for yourself? Like, what draws that type of mentality of like, he already had a good run. Like, Player Circle was a great group.
Oh yeah,
Titty Boy is
Didn't
already
they have
known.
that Duffel Bag Boy?
Duffel Bag Boy, Lil Wayne. So it's like,
I think I don't know. I think that was probably one of the best marketing things he could have done for his career because Titty Boy is not as marketable as 2 Chainz.
true.
Titty Boy you can't put. I mean, you can, but that's gonna change
As you get older.
As you get
He was already old in time.
like we could take it to Bow Wow and Lil Romeo and all that shit. But before we go there, it becomes a marketing play. Like, if nobody knows who you are as Titty Boy, because it was Player Circle, we didn't necessarily know everybody's individual name. I didn't anyway.
True. I mean, sometimes there's some groups that you like. Can you name all the Dungeon Family members?
I used to be able to, but
some people can name all the Wu-Tang members at one point, who was part of what group. And there'd be ways like there's a bunch of members you kind of know the names. So
right, like, but you don't necessarily know them. Like I see few people pulling out Inspector Deck. Because they always go to the big ones, like Raekwon, Meth, RZA, Jizza. Few people say Inspector Deck. Few people say Killer Priest, even though Killer Priest is a later edition. You get what I'm saying? But in terms of like a Titty Boy situation, let's say he did break off like a Young Jeezy did.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Titty Boy broke off. Well, now you got to rebrand that. And trying to put Titty Boy on the flyer, nobody knows. Player Circles at the time was more identifiable than Titty Boy.
True. At
least on a national, global scale. Obviously, regional people are gonna know who that is. But on a national, global scale, you put Titty Boy on the flyer, you're like, what kind of show is this? Headlining Titty Boy. Like, am I gonna see a strip show or something? Now, consequently, you still will see a strip show.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, in Atlanta, it sounds like a very easy sell to me.
It sounds like a great sale.
I feel like Magic City and Titty Boy performing live. I'm like,
that sounds awesome, but does that sell the same in a Wisconsin, in Idaho? It might not. I mean, you'll certainly get a demographic, but I think you spread out, enlarging your demographic when you say 2 Chainz. And I think 2 Chainz is actually more identifiable with some of the lifestyle that he portrayed. It's certainly now.
True. I mean, luxurious.
The luxurious lifestyle, the type of music that he makes, it fits. He was probably making more strip music back then, but even with Duffel Bag Boy, like 2 Chainz could have fit. The name could have fit there, but I think understanding your marketability with your name. So whereas a Killer Mike said, no, I'm doubling down and I'm keeping this.
Yeah.
Titty Boy was like, okay, I'm gonna take your word on that, and I'll change it to 2 Chainz.
So what's some other examples in the industry that we've seen over the years of artists that people may not have known they had a different name, or they came from a different persona of who they were, like in a group, to individuality to
right. I mean, there's a few. So let's talk about a big one first. I could bring up NSYNC with Justin Timberlake, and then him striking out solo. So and I make this point notedly for people who come from a group dynamic and now have to do a solo dynamic. There's a big difference.
Why do you think that? Because I think as a fan, like, the reason why I asked that question, because I feel like as fans of a group, it's like a boy band or anything, you're fans of that one person,
right?
But you're like, they just happen to be together,
right?
So the level of fandom when that person leaves, you're already kind of having a following go with you.
And it's not so much the fandom.
Okay. It's
more so as it relates to the work. Because now you don't have somebody, so for like myself, for example, going from Lost Dialect to a solo act, when I'm on stage performing, I can't look to my left if I forgot a lyric. I can't look to my right. In the writing room, if I'm stuck on a bar, I can't like bounce ideas off of somebody. I can't, it's on me to come up with the vision by myself. It's on me to come up with the promo plan by myself. At least it all has to come, it's certainly on like a NSYNC Justin Timberlake, it's a little different, but it starts with me. I have to have the vision. As a group, you might have a vision and I might have a vision, and now we can collaborate. It makes it a little easier to do it. Even with this show, True. It's easier for you and I to bounce off ideas as opposed to me going off, coming up with ideas, bringing them to you, and then you go, all right, cool. And then we type it up and we go, as opposed to bouncing off the idea. It's the same type of dynamic when you go from a group to a solo. Now it only comes from you.
Okay.
And you might have people in the room with you because these are big artists. I don't see Justin Timberlake sitting writing a song by himself every single time.
True.
But
that's like the same example like with Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt. OC,
Right.
OC, Ska Rock Band.
Exactly.
Don't sleep. No, you
Don't sleep.
No,
Right.
YouTube strikes.
We're not gonna try to sing that one.
But then you go to Hollaback Girl, which is like the most polar opposite.
Bruh.
Where I think like same name.
Yeah.
Didn't change her name, but the identity of who she was.
Did the persona change?
I thought that she still
feel
that
like it
rockish kind of was still
She
there.
had a rock appeal, but the sonics certainly changed.
Totally agree.
Certainly changed. An appropriation could be, argument could be made, but that's not what we're gonna talk about today. We're not gonna talk about that today. Y'all talk about that in the comments. Let me know if that was cultural appropriation. Same thing with Justin Timberlake. Go. All right, so
like we think for her going through that process when she broke away from No Doubt, or they broke up, or how it went down, where it's like, hey, who's Gwen Stefani?
Right, and I think that's the bigger conversation when you're going from a group to a solo act. Now, what is your sound? There has to be time taken to sculpt that. And even though, like for us in the public, like let's take a Justin Timberlake, where NSYNC drops an album and then all of a sudden JT has, what was it called? Justified? Justified. Like how'd that happen? How do you find it sound? That work was done in the midst of that piece. And then by the time we hear an album, it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
So that time was spent building that career.
And especially think like, does it come maturity where it's like NSYNC was a boy band?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be seen as a boy band.
Right. I want to be seen as an adult.
It's kind of like how Bobby Brown.
Ooh,
New Edition.
Great one. That's a great one.
You know, people forget New Edition is founded by Bobby Brown.
Yeah. Facts. Facts. People do forget that part.
He got kicked out of his own group by the ones he brought in.
That's deep.
Which is kind of weird. That. But
no, it's not weird. It's not weird. It happens all the time.
And you kind of saw those glimpses of Bobby being Bobby.
Yeah.
Like the aggression.
Right.
And when we saw My Prerogative Bobby.
Bruh. That was dope.
That was dope. And it's like, rarely do you see that many times where artists can still keep that identity from that early stage of being that bubblegum. She was like, it's my prerogative. It's like,
I can do what I want to do.
Like, you went from like, your girl won't call you back no more into
Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my life.
But to that degree, did the Bobby Brown persona get too ahead of himself?
Okay, what do you mean by too ahead of himself?
Did it take over his persona of being, I can do what I want? Because you went from being, not say control, but you're in a controlled environment as a kid. You break away, you start having your own sound. You start becoming, oh, that's Bobby.
Yeah.
And when you come like, oh, I'm Bobby. It's
kind of you let that character take over.
That stardom where it's like, oh, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm doing things that old Bobby would have done. So like that influence of outside influence, or is that just because you create this identity so much through your music?
True.
You start to have to feel like you've embodied that.
Honestly, I do think that has some play to it because you do have to create a character of sorts that the people want to champion.
So say that. I want you to explain to that when you say character, because I think when people hear that word character, it's like, oh, you're just a fake person.
I know.
I need to create a person like I need to create you to become something interesting.
Yeah, it's when I say character, I mean you can go as far as like a Bobby Brown, you can go as far as even the baby. these are characters that this is the most exaggerated side of me. It's still you, but it's the most exaggerated. So think of it when you have to give a presentation during class. Everybody's seen that one person that is extremely it has an extreme stage fright, right? So to get in front of a class, they might hyperventilate, because that piece is too much. For me, the character I put on was act right. Mm-hmm. I in turn took that and said, okay, I want to be who I am through and through. So that's why I came in with Mark W. But before we get there, I remember performing a poem. And the reason why I started memorizing my poems is because when I would get in front of people, my hands would shake so much I couldn't read the paper. My book, I couldn't read the words I wrote and I'd stumble and it would go badly. So then I started memorizing it. And I noticed when I memorized it, I can deliver the piece a different kind of way. Interesting. Because now I know what I'm saying, as opposed to reading it, barely reading the words, 1, 2, can't remember the intonation that I have from line to line. But when I memorize it, okay, I can deliver it a little different. Certainly a little bit more exaggerated than when I first wrote it. And I can give it a different type of life. So I would look at a character as this is a different aspect to my overall personality. And a character can be cartoonish. And there are certainly, like Tyler has definitely been cartoonish from time to time. Who else has been cartoonish? Nicki Minaj, cartoonish from time to time. Some would argue that she's full-on cartoon now. But you know, Roman, you know what I'm saying? That's a character that she personifies.
Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Chris Gaines. That's his alter ego.
Chris Gaines. Oh, I know that name.
So that's the emo version of Garth Brooks.
Yeah, as you see given by the other emo character here, that guy Darius.
The life of Chris Gaines.
The life of Chris Gaines.
The life of Chris Gaines. And it's interesting you say that because I feel like Garth Brooks' name by himself is already cemented. What made you think he had switched himself to go you know what? I'm tired of being this person.
This megastar.
Let me go by Chris Gaines.
Yeah.
First of all, Chris Gaines sounds like the most generic phone book
name. Yeah, it definitely does.
We all went to school to Chris Gaines.
I feel like I knew 7 Chris Gaines going in high school, man.
So it's how do you feel like artists that are big, and we can talk about that completely shifted their alter ego to the left, Doom. Doom's a very good example. You're talking about characters.
Yes. Talk about character. That's
you don't know Doom was in a group called KMD.
Right.
One by Dumoulin, which is his real government name.
His real name. Yeah. That's his last name, right?
Yeah. Which is Daniel Dumoulin. Right. Which is crazy that Dumoulin sounds is just like Doom. But he comes out as MF Doom.
Right.
With the mask. No one knows who he is. But he's using all these references that are cartoonish.
Right.
That's a good example of how you as an artist see those type of characters or people transforming into a full-on character where you are 24/7, this is me.
Yeah, well, seemingly 24/7. Seemingly.
To us, it's 24/7.
It would be 24/7. And that makes a big difference. To us, it's 24/7. And that's really going behind the veil of these personas that we put on. But looking at these characters like MF Doom, I think MF Doom probably found the illest cheat code there was.
Tell me about it.
And he's exercised how ill that cheat code was by putting in body doubles when he didn't feel like doing the show. He's gotten called out for it.
Oh.
But
didn't stop people from still loving
you know what I'm saying? It's to be able to have that cheat code where I'm hiding behind a mask, it's I don't need to expose who I am. I don't need you to know who I am. I need you to listen to the music. I need you to pay attention to this aspect. Don't worry about what I look like. In fact, I'm going to cover my face so you don't know what I look like. So you have to listen to the music. And I think that's where a lot of artists who do embody a persona or a character 24/7 forget, yes, this is a marketing ploy, but it's also something to help the music. It's something that's supposed to push that. And I think for like a Bobby Brown who put on this character and then forgot like it's supposed to emphasize the music and not all the shit you doing outside of the music. Like, dude, wipe your nose. It's a little dusty, my G. Like, you know, it's those things, it can overwhelm you and it can consume you to the point where you really do start to believe like you're that guy. And not for nothing else, it's draining as fuck to be that person.
To be on 24/7.
And that's why I say seemingly 24/7. As I said before, I think on the first episode, who I am sitting on this couch, who I am on that stage, who I am in the booth is not the person I am at home. It takes a lot of energy out of me to be this person on this couch.
True.
Because immediately after this, I'm like,
I'm sleepy.
we talking. I'll get excited in conversation, but we'll be in the parking lot and I'm just, that's that happened. Yeah, word. Yeah,
Word.
I'm turned all the way down. So for somebody like a Bobby Brown who crashes out because they forgot this is a character that they embody well. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, being authentic is hard when you create a character. And you
It's very difficult.
And what are some other artists you feel can do better to manage that as they come up in their career, where we all start from nothing,
right?
Unless you're an industry plant, which we'll talk about. We talked about before.
We've talked about in the past episode, yep.
Where, say you're in the game for 5, 10, 15 years, like, I want to switch up and I don't like this style no more. Like, I'm becoming this person I don't like no more.
Yeah.
And like, when you realize I'm that person where the person you created is now who you are.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now, what advice would you give to artists that are coming up in this game of like how they handle that type of pressure? Because it's gonna help. It comes with everyone's.
I can think of 2 artists right now off top that have made that type of change, not necessarily in name but in character. Lil Yachty and Doja Cat.
Really?
Yeah, and to answer your question, I think giving your audience enough time to realize that a change is happening.
Okay.
As opposed to doing it off rip. Well, I guess there's a couple ways you could really do it, because I remember when my brother and I had a conversation, I was talking about changing my name to Mark W. The piece of advice my brother gave me was, don't give people a chance to say, I miss the old... The old Kanye. I miss the old Doja. I miss the old Yachty. Because that means what you're doing is subpar. It ain't moving things forward. Because when you're moving things forward in a positive way, be it musically, personally, whatever have you, if people start to say, I remember when you used to be, that means you're falling off some type of way, and it's not to your benefit. So whatever change, that's why I would start there. Whatever change you plan to make sure you don't give people, you elevate. Don't give people a chance to say, why don't you go back to, because that means whatever you're doing right now ain't hitting the mark. In addition to that, you want to make sure that your audience can see it coming, or you just out the blue, this is it, this change. It's a complete 180, because both are gonna shock. But I think what helps out Yachty, because he was the one that took some time to transform.
Oh yeah, and people forget how young he was when he first came out.
It was
Cold in Minnesota.
I think he was either just in college or just graduated high school.
I think it was his first year in college.
First year in college, right? And that's, if you're remember that when you were a senior in high school and you went to college, you're coming off that high of, oh, we're seniors. And then, oh my God, I'm on my own, kind of. And nobody can tell you shit. And I do mean kind of. Everybody who's just now in college, your first year, you're kind of on your own. You're not really on your own. That ain't the real world yet. But you can't tell that person shit until they've been through something. And I think Yachty, once he was trying to do his, what was the crew he was with? The Sailor Crew or Sailor, whatever it is. He had a crew with him that he was financing, like full force, like giving them money for everything. And Yachty was doing it out of the kindness of his heart. Like, he wasn't asking for no percentage. He wasn't asking for no kickback. He wasn't asking for no credits. He just wanted to see his people win, and he could not push his people to win to save his life. And that shift happened. He went from Lil Boat 3 to that next project. I can't remember the name of it, but you saw a shift. Now you saw some remnants of the old Lil Yachty, but then you definitely saw like, oh, there's a trajectory change, as opposed to like a Doja Cat where you're
Moo.
popcorn. No, not Moo. No, Moo, I would say was like her introduction into the lane. But like that popcorn, bubble gum, like I'm the girl next door, I'm the one everybody wants to be like, to now you're questioning, does she have all of her mental faculties with one post?
True.
Because she just switched in an instant. Both of those are marketable, and we're starting to see which ones will last a career lifespan. But I think you really have to be careful when you just pointedly decide to make a change, and you really have to be definitive in that space.
You made a good point. There's a good example of an artist that speaks on that, Tyler.
Yeah.
There's an episode interview saying like, I took a whole year off of not being funny because my whole life I was known as a funny guy.
Yeah.
No one respected my music, the way I rapped. They say, "Oh,
that's true."
And he's like, Lawyer Squad. Like once Lawyer Squad ended, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're just that funny guy." He's like,
yeah.
But what about music? Like, no, but you're funny. He's like, I don't want to be known as a funny guy no more.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go in the studio.
Was that the difference between Cherry Bomb and Flower Boy?
So Cherry Bomb was like kind of transition of him.
Yeah, that was the transition.
But it's just like that idea of him being like, no, like I'm already fucking talented. Why do you guys not see? He's like, I'm just being funny for fun's sake.
Right.
But you guys still aren't respecting my music.
Yeah.
So you know what? Fine, cool. You close my laptop.
Let me go in hiding for a year.
You guys can joke. Let's go. No, I'm gonna go over here. And I mean, that's hard for a person to change and be like and see that and resonate where it's like, you know, you have so much skill, but I'm being overshadowed by something I'm good at is also being funny.
Right.
So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna be funny
Ooh.
and serious, and I'm still gonna do any type of music.
Right.
That you guys don't even expect me coming back.
And honestly, he still does the same, like even with Lawyer Squad, because I remember a lot of those were like, I couldn't watch a lot of them. It's almost like the extreme.
You weren't emo enough.
I wasn't, but I was part of the crowd that was excluded. But like we talked about on the what's the episode we did? Episode where we talked. Anyway, I don't want to keep stumbling, but yeah, I was part of the excluded. But even though a lot of those same, like I can see in his current stuff, the same basis is still there. Like
100%.
Like him bringing out one of the latest commercials he did, he just dragged out this huge ass point and shoot camera, and he has the big old viewfinder, the big ass makeup polish. They're like, Tyler's still there. It's just because he took that time out.
He polished it.
Yeah, he polished it up. It's like, well, it can be funny, but it doesn't have to be outlandish funny. It doesn't have to be like reject you funny. It can be like join in with me on this.
You talk about too, it's like maturity. Like
That's
some of us, I think that's what Yachty, especially like being under Coach K.
Yeah,
QC, like when you
he
have
wasn't
the right,
aware of what his stuff was.
Yeah, it's like when you don't have that guidance to kind of put you, say, hey, I still want you to be you.
Right.
But let's mature this you, but still keep the same thing. Because
absolutely.
What was the ongoing conversation about people saying like, yo, what you rap about or what you sing about then, remember your fans gonna grow up with you. Yeah. And if you stay in that same mentality that was 5 years ago, your fans now are probably in their mid-20s. Yeah. They probably are trying to go to get a job. Right. They're trying to set their life. You're still talking about this and that. And like, it don't resonate with me no more. Yeah, maybe Friday night we'll listen to you, but I can't listen to you every day.
Like the apologetic man himself said in 1985. He was doing the same things that Lil Pump was doing, at least seemingly. We don't know that he was talking about Lil Pump. He was talking about Lil Pump. But like, I was doing that stuff too, but then I grew up.
Yeah. But you hope that people, I guess too, it goes back to the Bobby Brown. You grow up into it. Yeah. But if you get so well known with it, it's hard to shake that image because like, oh, I want to hang out with you. It's like, wait, why are you so mellow? This is stupid. Like, yo, give me Mark W.
Right, like, give me the dude I see on TV.
Yo, give me 16 real quick. Yo, like, yo, talk about what you talking about. Like,
I've had that happen before.
I think that's where like the thing's like, yo, and I think another person does that is Gambino. Ooh, Donald Glover, where it's like, we don't know. By the way, I love people who are so mysterious.
I love that shit.
And the other person we need to talk about is Prince. that transformation where identity isn't about just because I want to change my persona to rebrand himself.
It wasn't even a full rebrand. He changed his name on some contractual to a symbol. And if I remember watching this the other day, he came out with an album with that symbol.
Oh yes, I had that album.
Yeah, I didn't have it, but I listened to it. My parents didn't allow that music. They let me listen to Michael. They wouldn't let me listen to Lil Red Corvette, bro.
You work from Trey Dog, but you couldn't have Prince in the house?
My parents never heard me freestyle those songs. They didn't even know. Look, it's their first time learning Trey Dog existed. They don't know who that is.
I'm gonna snitch on you.
I'm snitching on myself right now. My mom watches all these episodes. Yes, mama, I went by Trey Dog for like 2 seconds in the bedroom. Jeez.
He was out there smoking that in the...
Well, yeah, that wasn't a secret. No, it was an album, because I remember one of the news announcers was trying to like, it's an unpronounceable symbol.
Yeah, it's
you know what I'm saying?
Female male symbol.
Right, it was blended up, and I think that was a great personification of who Prince was. But then he runs into some contractual obligation, and I can't remember all the logistics of it. I think it had to do with him trying to either buy back his masters or something in terms of album agreements that he was supposed to produce.
Yeah, it was like it's kind of like the same time of the Slave, like the whole Warner Brothers relationship with him wasn't quite panning out the way he signed up for.
Right.
It's pretty much he felt like he's a slave, like he owed them more things that he didn't want to do, that he felt obligated towards. So he found a loophole.
Right. And he's
dropped it in.
So he's and Warner Brothers still retained ownership. I think that's what it was. He didn't like the contract in the sense of everything that Prince produces, everything is owned by Warner Brothers. Yes. From his name, his music, his performance, his likeness, everything that was Prince belonged to Warner Brothers. Yeah. Nothing that he produced belonged to him. So I'm going to produce music under this symbol.
Because it says here in 1993, in rebellion against Warner Brothers, which refused to release Prince's enormous backlog of music at a steady pace, Prince formally adopted this love symbol, is what they called it, as his stage name. To use the symbol in Prince media, Warner Brothers organized a mass mailing of floppy disks with a custom font to actually get people to know what that actually that was Prince content.
Wow.
So a rebellious stage of holding your ground and realizing I have the power.
Right.
So change like that whole idea of like rebranding, identifying yourself as an artist. Here's a guy who was making music for years.
Yeah.
And last week we see like Slave on the side of his face.
He actually he had a whole album that he wrote and dropped. Like when I say dropped, I mean didn't put out.
Yep.
And did a whole different album and released that.
Which is a very Prince thing, by the way.
A huge Prince thing. What was the name of that album? Because he said he didn't want to put it out because it was like, he felt like it was devil music. And then Warner Brother ended up putting it out anyway. Like years later.
Oh, yeah.
It was a black label print.
Batman?
No, it wasn't the Batman album. It wasn't If you don't know, the first Batman movie, Prince produced that whole thing. The whole thing. Bang. That's why that thing was knocking. And that's why some of them Joker scenes looked the way they did, by the way. But when you find a loophole like that, and I think since then, a lot of record labels have since written in some things where it's like, we own you. Like
your whole identity.
Yeah, and I think in perpetuity. And before it was like, we own Prince. And then he was like, oh, well, if you own that, well, then I'm going to do this. Now they have some legal jujitsu where it's like, no, you as the creator. I think Kanye West falls under one of those type of deals where he's not allowed to not produce for a single year. Like he has to produce music.
So is that why the whole Ye thing came about versus the Kanye West Ye?
No, I think that's just him being egotistical. To be honest with you.
It's very easy to Google, I'll tell you that.
It is very easy to Google. But I think it has to do with, because his contract, it was a big thing for a second. And I don't remember all the details and I don't want to give out those type of information, but y'all can Google it at home. Yeah. We can Google it here, but we're on to something else. But I think what his thing is, he has to produce music. He has to record songs. He has to do that for the duration of his existence.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
contractually.
yeah,
Like,
literally, like, when's the next album coming out, buddy?
right. Like you have no choice in the matter. And in terms with Prince, like, and that's why I think these things exist, because something like a Prince happened. So now instead of meeting the artists where they are, they write it in their contract differently. But I think Prince was unique in that sense where not only did he beat that system, he also bought back his name.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen the quotes around Prince talking about the music industry, how corrupted, how evil it is.
Yeah.
Like, so for him to do that at that time, that's a huge, bold statement for a big artist, which I wonder if it inspired artists to today to understand, read your contract.
It definitely
and
inspired
understand when
me.
your brand, you sign on to as a brand, we're sharing resources.
Right.
We don't own this person at the end of the day.
Exactly.
The identity that you're getting is only when I give it to you.
Right.
Which
right.
is the independent conversation, what a label means. So another artist, do you think Mos Def changed going to Yasiin Bey? It was a political reason, a contract, the idea of who Mos Def was as a rapper.
Right.
Persona.
And that's where it is. And I remember when this happened, because I am, Mos Def, for those who don't know, he's in my top 5.
Oh, okay.
He would be number 1, except my brother is number 1.
Oh.
And that's no, well, it's biased, but it's no bias because my brother's dope. But Mos Def is number 2. And I remember when that name change happened. I know that he dropped the Mos Def because I think in his own words, it no longer served him.
Interesting.
He did everything he was supposed to do under that name. We know that Mos Def is not highly religious, but he's very spiritual. And I think he's Muslim.
Yes.
And so because he's spiritually in tune, you know, he now has the name Yasiin Bey. And I'm not sure of the religious implication of that name. I don't know that one.
So I found a quote that he says, I began to fear that Mos Def was being treated as a product and not a person.
Ooh, okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
I just heard it's no longer serving me.
I'm gonna say for the crowd.
Yeah, well, please, say it again.
I began to fear that Mos Def was being treated as a product, not a person. So I began to go by my new name.
Now that is a deep concept.
That's a very Mos Def, by the way.
It is a very Mos Def statement.
If that was a Black Star lyric on Black Star,
look, if he'd have done that on what was the
Black on Both Sides?
Not that one.
Mathematics?
Ecstatic.
Static? Oh.
On the Ecstatic album, that should have been like, because he opens up every album with a prayer. Min Allah Rahim. And I might be pronouncing that wrong, so everybody who catches me saying it wrong, correct me in the comments. But he starts off everyone with a prayer, but if he ended it off with that statement.
That to me, reading that for the first time, like, damn.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of goes back to the Prince situation. Your identity is a product if you're signed. True. But even for independents like myself, you are a product.
True.
You are what you are, the brand.
I guess it's the terminology of what a product means. And ownership, what does that mean? When someone you buy a product, it's no longer we buy a product from other companies.
Right.
We own that Heinz ketchup for the moment I'm using Heinz, but it's still Heinz's product. The name itself is still under the Heinz umbrella. Yeah.
It's ketchup, but it's Heinz ketchup.
Yeah, Dasani is still Coca-Cola.
Right.
It's a product of another product.
Arrowhead. It's still
It's the guy disguised as a dude playing another dude.
I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
So hearing that statement from him, do you feel yourself as a product, as an artist?
Yeah. Well, so
as Mark W, is Mark W the product?
Mark W is definitely a product. It is a product. It's a brand. It's something that people will want to have for themselves. And as an independent, as musicians, period, we need to accept the fact that we are a product. Now, to his point, pointedly, I was being treated like a product more than a person. That's deep. That's why I say that's deep, because the key word there is treated like. But the reality is, the stuff that we create with these characters, with these names, be it your actual government given name or your parent given name, or a made-up name that you gave yourself or somebody else gave to you because you earned it, that identity is to be sold. I mean, that's how we make our money.
Yeah.
Do they believe in the thing that you're pushing? Yes, the byproduct is the music. The byproduct is the stuff that we do on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, the stuff that we sell.
Yeah.
But you are the one that creates it. So understanding your product, who you are, then you really understand your power, which I think goes back to what Prince was saying. Like, I am the product.
Yeah.
So the fact that you own, going back to what Mos Def said, you're treating me like a product instead of a person, like that's where it gets a little murky.
Yeah. I mean, in your career, have you felt that way? Where someone looked at you more of a product
absolutely.
than the artist that you call yourself?
Absolutely.
I don't give the person too much credit as him. I will not rename his name, but yeah, where don't call me a rapper, call me an artist. Where it's like, you came in the industry as this, so people will always assume you as this. They always say like Kanye West, the rapper artist, fashion person. It's like, no, I'm an artist.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself being like, I'm not just this person, I am more than that? Because like you said, you come in through a lane. We talk about like how, we didn't talk about this, how Pink was in the group.
Right. Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but yeah, Pink was in the
how
group.
she evolved to becoming the Pink that we see now.
Right.
Or Gwen Stefani, she was in a group, JT, like there are all these people that are already kind of labeled as these people. For you as an artist and advice to certain artists, like how do you go about those conversations when someone always sees you as like, well, you're just the rapper guy.
Ooh, that's it.
It's
For
like, why
me,
you
that's
singing? Like, why are you trying to sing? You don't.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. I think, ooh, that's a good one because, especially for me, because I call myself the meticulously multi-talented Mark W. So I think I build in my brand identification there. So when I do come out with an all R&B album, that may or may not happen. I don't think it will.
It's coming.
But if I do decide to do that, it wouldn't be too much so out of the realm of belief because multi-talented is in the moniker. For somebody
people
like,
take that serious though. You know when people say like, oh, multi-talented, like,
whatever. It's okay. So I think it comes. Ooh, it's so layered because
let's get deep.
No Diddy. Let's get deep. No Diddy. So there's a lot to go with that because for me, all right, I'll just start here. For me personally, I don't get hung up when somebody wants to call me something. Okay. Now, in the instance when somebody says, don't do that, you're not supposed, now I take it as a personal challenge. Oh, okay. Well, let me show you that I can do this. Okay. Or let me see if I can do that. As opposed to getting offended and say, no, that's where I'm on the other side of that. Like, I'm not about to get offended about what you think I am. Because I need to think of who I am.
100%.
What you think over there is your business. I have no control over that. And
tell them, Mark. Tell them.
And trying to control what you think about me, I'm a spin my wheels and get stuck in the sand or get stuck in the mud or get stuck in the snow because I can't control what you think, but I can control what I think and how I respond to what you tell me. So if you say, you can't, you're just this, you can't, okay, cool, let me prove you wrong. Now, if it's not good,
tell me.
All right, bet, it's not good. How can I fix it? But if it's good, all right, let me not hear you say that no more. But even if it is good, people's like, you got lucky. So it becomes a thing of like, are we trying to spend so much time trying to convince everybody that I am this? Or do you just show and prove and know that this is who I am?
Do you think that comes with maturity of understanding not only oneself, but knowing who your identity is, that I am this person? You will never box me. Yeah. You can put me in the box.
Right.
But don't think I won't be able to jump in another box
or
another room.
Best example
and surprise you. Where it's like surprise.
Yeah, like surprise. The best example of that I can think of off top is Lil Wayne. He learned how to sing. He learned how to play the guitar. Now, it's arguable if it was good or not. But I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed the rock music.
It was whack.
I enjoyed it.
It was whack.
That's me. Again, that is me. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it mostly because he took the time to like, no, I'm going to figure this thing out. Now, if he figured it out to mastery level, clearly not. But at the same time, I appreciate when somebody does it. It's like an Andre 3000.
Oh, yeah.
He went and started playing the flute and figured it out to a point where I'm going to do a whole album like this and delve into that space. So I enjoy seeing things like that where I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to test my durability. I'm going to test my capabilities. And I'm going to test to see where my own limit is. And you just might stumble upon a deeper avenue into your artistry, expanding your borders.
100%. I think that's where your identity grows with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Versus like the identity defining who you are.
Right.
You define what the identity should be.
I think you always are in control of what your identity. You are in control of it. You can lose your way for a little bit.
Until cocaine comes in your system.
It's a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug.
No, I didn't kick you, Charlie Murphy.
Right. I didn't put my feet on your couch.
Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, I remember putting my feet on Eddie Murphy's couch. But cocaine is a hell of a drug.
But you're saying like being authentic is.
Yeah.
But I think that's a hard thing though.
Yeah.
I think I was just saying back in the day it was easier. Nothing's ever been easier. It's just we never had eyes on it. And I think branding of yourself and identity of who you come in as, either it's really who you are,
yeah,
or you're like, this is not me, but I have to put on this mask.
What are you talking about? Slim Jesus?
Who are you talking about?
Kurt Franklin? No.
Oh, you know another artist you talk about?
Who?
MC Hammer.
Okay, wait.
Too legit to quit.
Right.
Pumps in the rope. People think they're two different versions.
If you don't know, different versions of MC Hammer?
Yeah.
Pumps and the Bumps and Too Legit. They think that's two different.
Some people, because think about it. We got to pray. Too legit to quit. Sounds poppy. A lot of rappers didn't like it. A lot of people didn't think it was too poppy.
Yeah.
Pumps in the rope. That's a whole other side you see of Hammer.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't expect that from him. But
you do if you know where that dude is from.
That's why I go to. If
you know where that dude is from.
There's a video online circulating of Redman.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of other rappers saying yo, don't test Hammer.
Don't Hammer.
Let the shiny pants fool you.
Right.
Listen, a motherfucker who works, who dances that much can whoop your ass.
Right. And look, and not be winded and doing it. Hammer. Wow. You know what I mean?
So it means like that person, like I say that because people were surprised when Pumps around. I'm like, that's who he is.
Right. That makes sense.
But I think to the ongoing image of people seeing him as he dances, he does this. He
had a cartoon.
He got a cartoon. Wait,
I love that cartoon too.
With his junk all out.
Right.
That's
what happened to the pants? What happened to the pants? Why is the banana hammock on? I see an outline. Yeah. Oh God. So it is, I think, so in terms of being authentic, because I see what you mean. Like it could be a sense of like you don't know, you weren't expecting it, and it catches you off guard. And I see what they say is two different people. But just like you were saying it, Kurt Franklin was a b-boy. Like he started in hip hop, like b-boy dancing, and then he took that and his newfound faith and put it into music form and did it in a way that he could enjoy it in the vein that he was in. You know
100%.
Like, I like hip hop, I'm gonna do it that way. And I'm not talking about Stomp. You remember Kurt Franklin in the family? All my people say Stomp. By the way, that viral video, that white choir taking that song, and all my people say, stop, get on beat. I'm tired of all these white choirs. Y'all have way more rhythm than you letting these off rhythm people do it. Claim your rhythm, white people. Do it.
We
anyway.
saw the Chappelle.
We did see the Chappelle show.
Dang, play the fight song. Play the fight song. Play the fight
They should have had some guitar in that version. You're right. But I think in being authentic to your whole persona, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, not necessarily to hide a skill that you have, but hiding parts of yourself. Certainly, there are things that you hide just to keep.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't want
to give your whole self away, but if something like that happens with the MC Hammer where they don't like, oh, I didn't see Pumps and the Bumps happening.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that I'm hood as hell then. And you don't know that I enjoy looking at ass. Like, you know, but I will pray over that ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all those things make up the person. You can't tell me the person in the strip club wasn't at church the next morning.
I mean,
I see it all the time. I grew up in church. I know. I've been to strip club one night and the next day I saw them in church. I didn't blow up their spot, still not saying their names, but it happened. So
Steve Johnson.
Ooh, that's too close to somebody I know. Don't do that. No, that's
the most luckiest guess.
Whoa, that is a lucky guess.
That
is a lucky guess.
We will bleep that. We will bleep that out. He's
boy,
like, he seems like this. Watch, Steve, if you're watching, he's like,
right. Look, I'm gonna cut this part out. But Steve Johnson is actually the name of the person who took over my dad's business after he left.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Negrodamus.
Negrodamus for real. Hey, look, I call Curtis King Kurt Stradamus.
Yo, shout out to Curtis King.
Shout out to Curtis King. I'm gonna cut that whole part out, but shout out to Curtis King. Negrodamus. Kurt Stradamus. But no, I think you do yourself a disservice when you don't at least mention certain aspects of yourself to where a song like that isn't caught from left field and it doesn't upset a lot of people. On the other hand, fuck people.
Oh.
And I'm gonna be what I am. I'm gonna do what I do. And this is the part that I like. And if you don't like it, oh well, I lost you as a fan. And I think somebody more comfortable, the most comfortable doing that is Doja. She's showing like, oh well, this is where I'm at now. You don't like it anymore, bye. Like this is where I'm at.
Yeah, I think it goes back to again where sometimes as fans we see them as product. I bought something, therefore without me there is no you. So you're my puppet, like you're my doll.
What Yasiin was saying, like
where I think the power of understanding. No, I'm giving you guys the same thing the guy at McDonald's gave you.
Right.
Like you asked for number 2, you got number 2. You gonna get mad at him tomorrow because you didn't get the same number 2?
Right.
No, like you pay for a service.
Yeah.
I gave it to you.
Ooh, go even wider with that analogy. At one franchise location, what you want is a number 2. At another franchise location, what you want is a number 6. And you go there and ask for a number 6 and go back to the other one and ask for a number 6, you're getting 2 different meals. Know what you're ordering. Know the product that you're indulging in. Because it doesn't always look the same at every location. God damn it, I got bars! Let me check this.
I have bars.
All right, no, we good. How much time we got on that?
Yeah, we're an hour and 5, which is good because actually ending the conversation, because you're actually touching on the last topic, man, was fan base.
There you go.
I like how fan base influences the whole identity, like fans swaying people to change your persona because like, oh, you're just too much. Like, oh, I'm gonna rebrand myself and come back because I'm trying to please you guys because I need you.
There you
and
go.
I think standing your ground as an artist, like, yo, you come into this business, you come in with a purpose.
Yeah.
You're always gonna be criticized. It's
Right.
part of the game. We talked about this in one episode a long time ago where it's like, anytime you put yourself out there, it's an open format for criticism.
Yeah.
Either you take it or you
Right.
don't. Now, should that deter you from who you are? No. Should I tell you who you should be? If it's fact-checking to remind you, yo, you fell off, dude. Like, you're not the same person. You a false prophet. You ain't really
Bruh, that
acting the
goes
way
back.
you were.
That goes back to what I was saying. Like, don't give people a chance to say, I miss the old XYZ.
You're not going to get them.
Because you're not going to get that old person back. But if you're hearing that type of statement, then you have fallen off. But in the same sense, you do have to stand your ground in the new place you find yourself in. If that new identity that you're giving yourself is healthier for you as a person, as a being, as an entity, as a product, as a brand, then you have to go with that and stand 10 toes down on it. The fans are always gonna, they come in today and they leave tomorrow. Not every fan you have will last you your entire career. Yeah, and your fans will change. They'll grow on you.
Oh, 100%.
They'll grow on you. Like, I listen to old Kanye, and that's the Kanye I listen to. The Graduation, the college dropout,
Late registration.
Late registration. I really wish Good Ass Job came out. I really wish that came out.
It did.
Yeah, it was 808s and Heartbreak. He didn't do a good ass job with that.
job.
But he did transform an entire generation of music. I will give him that. That is fact. But I do side with Fonte when he said, I don't want to hear auto-tune all over everybody's vocal. I want to hear what you really sound like.
I mean,
and where we are now, everybody is doing auto-tune. But but along that line, like, you got to accept the growth in people. I accept that Kanye has changed. I don't listen to his music.
Yeah. I mean,
because it doesn't resonate with me no more.
Yeah, I think there's growth where it's like, you know what? I still respect you or what you did. You did what you did, but
you had to apologize, and I no longer want to listen to you talk greasy about rappers anymore.
I'm talking greasy.
Yeah, don't talk greasy about rappers anymore because you apologized when it made sense to do it. All right, my bad.
No, but you know what? That's a very good conversation. I know we can go on this forever and ever.
We really could.
Does this change the man from North Carolina image now? From not from a Dreamville fan or a Cole, what they call their fans?
I don't know what they call their fan base.
At this point, I know that day, everyone was confused when they came to that show.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I had a fucking Kendrick shirt on.
Right.
Now, wait.
Yeah, now I don't know what to do with it because everybody was like, "Yay, Kendrick,
Pimp a Butterfly."
Right.
It was a classic concert.
Does that change?
Does that change his identity going forward now? Again, Cole's a very quiet guy.
Absolutely. I think for me, it opens me up to where he has changed. Because we knew that he was embarking on a journey when he started letting his hair grow.
True.
Because he was always a clean-cut dude.
Yep.
When he had his little fro, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when it started to get a little like, okay, he was doing the little sponge curl thing, I was like, okay. And then, all right, I saw the first canoe happen. I said, yeah, that's... And then he started to look bummy in appearance.
It's like, oh, so you wear sweatpants again, buddy?
Right.
You know we're in the White House, right? Yeah, bruh. These are my good sweatpants.
These are my good sweatpants. They ain't got no stains on it or nothing. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I even wore drawers, so no print will show. But I think it opens me up to where he's elevating towards. So, but like I was jokingly saying, I don't want to hear you talk greasy anymore about what you would do to a rapper who challenges you, because that goes against your definitive narrative.
Because he came in the game, I won't say cocky, humble, but he came in hungry.
He came hungry. That's a great way of putting it.
Hungry. God tasted
Who that? Who that?
Yeah.
Bitch, I got that flame.
And then you got into the era of, I'm chasing the wrong things.
Yeah. With
money, women, clubbing.
Was it I eat that, eat it with Trey Songz?
Yeah.
I need that. And then the workout plan. Was it not workout plan? That's not what he sampled that, but let me see you work out. We got a good thing. Yeah, that whole thing. Born Center, that whole album. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the Sideline Story, Born Center, and then when Forest Hills Drive drops, that's the line in the sand.
Well, is that his 444 for him?
I don't think it's his 444 yet. I don't think it's his 444.
The reason I say that because in the context of going from all those other songs to like, it was about him giving a story of who he was as a life, like coming up in Carolina, coming from being poor, having these things where we're like, wait, but you were doing all this, like, oh, you weren't sending your mom money?
Right.
Oh, damn, you was really living that life.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to live that no more. So I'm now Drake, or Cole.
I'm dreaded Drake. If that ain't a football, oh, golly.
If I see Drake with dreads,
I
swear.
Oh, wow. He better do it satirically.
He's a Thanos of music.
I'm real talk. He got all 5 rings. Well, no, he won't get the 5th one because Kendrick ain't gonna give up his ring.
But to Cole's point, like in the sense of now we're seeing Cole now because the fall album's supposed to be coming out.
Yeah.
This whole situation coming about. Does that change his character, who he is? Because he's been on this journey being this zenful, like Pharrell, like, namaste.
Namaste, no, you need to stay.
But namaste with spice.
Yeah, because he was still kicking
his bars,
rapper bars.
But now it's like we're seeing this version of this in front of the world, being very transparent is great.
Absolutely. I respect the transparency. Absolutely.
But for you as a fan, and you think as an artist for himself, if you're in that position, do you still stay on the ground? Do you let the fans that picked you going forward, like, no, you gotta be spicy now going forward.
So, you bring up a good one.
Don't be so. Hey, I don't want to see.
You bring
that
up a good
shit
one.
no more.
You bring up a good one. I'm only gonna. I say this lovingly. I'm only teasing like
It's
that.
all love.
It's all love. I'm only teasing like that because that's the climate we're in. But you have to respect the dude that makes a statement and stands on the statement. My hip hop in me is like, hold up, bro. Like
Fuck
you,
that shit.
huh?
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, fuck that shit. My hip hop in me is like, yo, nah, wait a minute. And he said, y'all want to see blood. And I think that's real divisive how he phrased that.
Which is weird because none of us thought that was gonna go that route.
This
is not Tupac, Biggie. This
Right.
is not Jadakiss and forgot who he was beefing with.
I forget now.
But it's like, it's not Ice Cube and NWA. It's
It's
none of those. Even Meek Mill and everyone else.
even
like,
Meek Mill and Drake, I didn't see getting to that point.
No, like no one of us saw that because we saw these two people as just pure the generation of hip hop.
Hip hop, hip hop. The kids of, I want to say the second generation of third generation, second generation of hip hop. The kids of the second generation of hip hop. Right,
Yeah.
That's fair to say because the '90s is what birthed us.
Yeah, because Cold Calls is our era, the
middle children.
Middle children of hip hop.
And that's I'm mad that he made that song.
I know.
That should have been a song I made because that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm everybody's big bro, and then I'm all my OGs little bro at the same time. Like it's weird.
Hey, what's up, Right?
Like, what? But I as a hip hop head, I want to see the verbal spats. I want to see the back and forth. I want to see the battle testing because not for nothing, Kendrick hasn't been battle tested yet, really, because nobody really came with the legitimate response to Control.
Never has, never will.
And nobody has come with the legitimate response to Like That yet. Granted, both of those tracks are feature records, by the way. He is yet to drop an official disc. Subs all over the place, but not an official disc. Cole has put out a lot of feelers, saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this if you test it. I'm gonna do this if you try it." Almost, and what I say that now because it's almost like I was doing that so y'all won't say nothing. Damn, y'all said something.
So you go back
and
to
then he responds.
So you as identity, like, did he start creating a persona of himself that he wasn't prepared to go down that route as persona?
To the argument of today,
Yeah.
To the argument of today, yes, he created a persona that once brought to the table and asked to defend, he was not ready to go through with that all the way. And I think at one point he was. And I think that's the apology we got. The apology we got was, you know what? I thought I could do that. I can't do that. It doesn't sit well with my spirit. Again, I respect that. On some man-to-man shit. On some hip-hop, fuck that noise. Like, no, nigga.
Listen, say that in your 60s.
Say that behind the scenes till you meet people's like, yo, I don't think I should have did that. Yeah. You know what I really think? I don't think he liked his approach. Because his approach was lazy. Because you attacked Kendrick's catalog. You shouldn't have attacked his catalog. You should have went petty and just attacked. He was petty because he did attack his height.
He did.
Your arms ain't even long enough to box with the guy. Come on, man.
If everyone knows Kendrick Lamar is like 5'2".
He's not 5'2". He's like 5'5". He says it in the song. 5'6", really. But it's like J. Cole is 6'2". Like, or is he like 6'4"?
He's tall. That's all.
J. Cole is tall.
Yeah.
So I get. But he could have just. Honestly, I think if he went bar for bar, we'd have a different discussion.
So it's a character conversation of
right.
You think that was aimed on him to become this person, or you think he had to answer that call because of his whole career? Like he said, his whole career has never been. He's had some couple run-ins here.
But not. But I mean, like Lil Pump and people under like
where fuck J. Cole's like, thanks. All right, cool, thanks guys.
Right.
Where it's like,
and I think how he handled those situations were way better than how he handled this one. Because it was like, all right, dude, like, that's not what I'm on. I'm not trying to dish you like that. But in terms of why he leaned into it the way it was, I think now that exposes what the industry can do to persuade how you write. Because hip hop teaches us to be battle ready. So to always be ready for somebody to test your pen game.
So you think that came from a logistical business call of me
Ooh,
responding?
I see what you're saying. No.
Like we said, like we said, like we're as an artist, you're a product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think the product is like, let's keep this going because it's good ammo for your rollout? Versus like, all right, yeah, but then you start realizing like you agree to something like, well, I actually don't really want to do this, but damn, I'm already writing these bars, and there's like, get in the booth, you're like,
there's another aspect to that on some personal bullshit. Like, bruh, you didn't have to put the song out. You could have just said no. It could have been, so to your point, an argument could be made that he was just using himself as a marketing piece for his album because he caught, and to be fair, he only caught a stray from Kendrick.
He caught one of the biggest strays in all.
Oh, it was a big stray. Yeah, that's a fact.
He happened to come to the picnic and was like, what? Huh?
Right. He was standing on the sidewalk where the dude was, like if it was a drive-by, dude standing right here, and Cole was standing right next to him, and he got caught because he was hit. He was there in proximity. But all the same, I do think he's a byproduct of his own product. Like I think he probably was. He did feel, and he even said he was pressured to make a response because it would be good rollout.
Yeah.
Or it'd be good, not even rollout. It would just be good to respond.
Yeah, I guess this all goes back into being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
And knowing who you are, because if that's how you really felt, you could say, no, I'm good. Like, that's my man's.
Yeah.
He said what he had to say.
Right.
Now I'm gonna say thank you. But I know he's talking about him.
And I don't want no parts of that.
You know, I know how he can get sometimes, but I'm not
let me highlight him real quick and we can squash this. So I think, it changes. It opens my eyes to who he is a little bit more. I would hope for his own brand's sake that he firmly stands on that and leans away from the battle-driven bars and do like he did with
Forest Hills
or with 1985 on KOD, where it's like, I'm a jab you, but I'm also gonna give you
flowers.
A Band-Aid. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, I know that hurt. Here's an ice pack. Now let's talk about it on the couch and let's record it. And broadcast it.
Delete it, fall off, make a flute album. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, the flute's already been done. He got to do the clarinet. He got to do the clarinet at this point.
You better go to Orchestra Drive. Find you a
was it 2024 Orchestra Drive?
You better find the nearest HBCU.
Hey, that would be actually
just drumline it. You better get Nick
That'd
Cannon as an interlude. I'll give you.
Well, no, Beyonce already did the drumline. You can't do that.
I don't care. No one remembers it to this very day.
I remember it. I listen to it all the time.
You're one person that
Homecoming. You the one, nigga. Shut up. You're messing up my point.
My point is, HBCU it up, get a band, get Nick Cannon.
Honestly, yeah, he would be the one to do an HBCU.
And
get Nick Cannon.
Get Nick Cannon and the interludes and call it Drummer Boy.
Yeah.
And talk about how you fell off.
And make it. And when you roll it out, it's the apology tour.
It's the drum tour.
Oh, jeez. Hell yeah, that'd be raw.
So we've had a good conversation. I think these are good points. Like, what are some of your last minute nuggets you want to share with the audience and artists that may be in the same position you're in? Because one thing we didn't talk about is like you are in the same position right now.
I am.
Your identity / brand, which we'll get into brand a little later down the road.
A little bit later. But we're going to invite the Don onto the show.
Touch a little bit on this, a little bit of advice and just how you're going through that same process and how you're dealing with it.
Should I talk to? I'm talking to him direct because we got to close it out, I suppose. All right. So today we definitely talked about your identity as an artist. As you get into it, as you grow, as you mature, as you stumble upon the way, as you get into some legal troubles, and as you find the name might not suit you as much anymore. As Darius mentioned, I'm going through this thing right now, and we talked about it a little bit on the show, where my name is not necessarily searchable. It is my own given name. My parents gave me that name. I'm actually the third. And it is something that is now hindering people discovering me. So I'm going through this thing of, do I change it? How do I adjust it so that it becomes something searchable? But then that comes into question a lot of my own identity. What is really my identity? And it's the same thing for you. Find out what your true identity is. We've been talking about this the entire time, especially with the last segment talking about J. Cole. What is your true identity? Can you stand on that identity throughout the duration of your career? When you find that it changes, how much can you adapt to it? How much can you shift? How much can you pivot? Should you pivot? Should you shift? These are all questions that are ongoing. We definitely don't have definitive answers on that today. But what we can tell you is don't be afraid to be yourself. Even if yourself comes with a characterization from time to time. Even if yourself gets called into question and now you have to defend it. Hopefully you won't have to apologize for defending it, but it is something that's gonna be changing throughout the way. And don't be afraid to lose fans when you do change. Some people will like your change. Some people won't like your change. But if you're being you, and it's not from a sense of peer pressure, it's not from a sense of legal ramifications, your fans will stay your friends. Because we see that with Prince. He changed his whole name to a symbol. People still followed him. And then when he came back to Prince, nobody gave him any gaff about it because why? He was transparent the entire way through. He was still himself. And I challenge you all to do the same thing. Be yourself. Let your identity define you. Let you define your identity. Don't let the identity, the product, define who you are as a person. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by here at Artistry Ascending right here on Traklife. If you heard anything that you liked today, if you didn't hear something that you wanted to hear, let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, follow us on Traklife, all that goodness. Make sure you follow this guy, that guy, Darius. I'm gonna make a little name card for him like I do my little cool thing. It's happening right here. Follow that. Then make sure you follow me, your man's the meticulously multitalented Mark W, coming at you one more time yet again. How are you? Until next time, take it easy. You know, I said it the wrong way. Until next time, tap in with me. I didn't find my own identity. Damn.
Tap right in.
Tap right in. I forgot what it said. Anyway, until next time, tap in with me. You know I tap back. Peace.
Tap out. Tap out.
Tap out.
Tap out.
Tap out.